10 locals what it's like to live in White Rock, and 9 of them will tell you that it's paradise. They're not lying, but they're also not telling you everything.
White Rock is one of the most desirable places to live in all of British Columbia. People move here from all over the Lower Mainland, all over the country, and honestly, all over the world.
But there are some things that almost nobody talks about before they make the move. And if you're thinking about relocating here, or you already live here, and you're trying to make sense of what's happening around you, this video is going to give you the full picture that the brochure never does.
We're covering 8 of the biggest cover-ups White Rock has to hide in this video. Some small that will generally surprise you, and I'm pulling back the curtain on secrets that most locals won't tell you unless you've lived here for years.
I'm saving the biggest one for last because that's what's coming to White Rock, and it could change absolutely everything.
You only get one chance to buy or sell your next home. Let's get it right.
Before we kick off, if you're thinking about buying or selling in White Rock or South Surrey, the biggest mistake that you can make right now is relying on outdated advice or guessing your next move. The market, again, has shifted, and what worked even 6 months ago could cost you tens of thousands today. My name is Darren. I'm a real estate professional living here and working in the White Rock and South Surrey area, and I've been helping families just like yours buy and sell here since 2007. And since then, I've worked with hundreds and hundreds of families, many of whom found me right here on this YouTube channel because they wanted straight answers, real local insight, and a strategy that actually works. On this channel, I break down exactly what's happening in our market, what to watch out for, and how to make smart decisions so you don't leave any money on the table. So if you want to stay ahead of the market, hit subscribe. And if you're serious about making a move, there's a quick link to book a call with me or my team. There's no pressure, just clear advice so you can move forward with confidence.
Now, not everything on this list is earth-shattering. We're gonna run through 4 smaller ones quickly, and then we're going to get into the stuff that actually keeps the locals up at night.
So let's get the small stuff out of the way first, because there are 4 things that, well, they might seem minor, but if you're moving here, you should absolutely know about them. The first is cell service. White Rock and South Surrey have some of the worst cell service in the entire Lower Mainland. Drop calls while driving are generally common, and if you're down by the beach, don't be surprised when your phone latches on to an American carrier from across the border and your cell phone provider starts charging you roaming fees. A lot of residents end up going back to a landline at home. Do you remember those things, landlines? Just so they can have a reliable connection. It's one of those things that nobody warns you about until you're already here. Now, the second is the water, and we're not talking about swimming at the beach. We're talking about the drinking water. White Rock is the only municipality in all of Metro Vancouver that runs its own independent water system. While every other city in the region is pulling clean mountain water from Metro Vancouver's reservoir system, White Rock actually draws its supply from the Sunnyside Uplands aquifer through 7 wells located throughout the city. The water is safe and meets Health Canada guidelines, but naturally it contains manganese, which means some residents have seen discoloration in their toilet tanks or laundry, and there can be an off taste that people notice. The city built a treatment plant to address it, and it's improved, but it's different than what most people are used to. Number 3 on our list is walking to the water. Now, we're talking about the other water here, but specifically more so the actual beach. White Rock looks incredible in photos. The promenade, the pier, the sunsets, it's really honestly beautiful. But if you're living up on the hill, and most people are, getting down to that beach is a serious workout. The hill is steep and the stairs are significant, and coming back up is not a casual stroll. It's great if you're fit and motivated, and for a lot of people though, especially over time, the beach becomes more of a drive than a walk. Now, number 4 on our list is the commute, and it can be devastating for some. If you're working in Vancouver or Burnaby, or even just getting up to North Surrey, where a lot of the commerce is, you need to budget some serious time. Public transit options down here are limited, and what used to feel like a manageable drive has gotten progressively worse. You're looking up to at least 45 minutes just to get to the other end of the city, and that's on a bad day. But at least that's on a bad day. White Rock is tucked into the corner of the Lower Mainland on the peninsula, and that geography has a real cost when it comes to getting absolutely anywhere. Okay, now let's get into some of the bigger stuff, some of the more impactful stuff. But before we do that, just a quick heads up, if you're even thinking about buying a home anywhere in BC, you're going to want to grab a copy of our free guide, 18 grants and rebates for home buyers. We pulled together every program we could find from federal, provincial, and even some lesser known local ones, plus links, tips, and simple ways to actually use them. Most of these are buried, confusing, or completely missed by buyers, and this could save you thousands. Good news is it's free, and you can download it right now by using the link in the description of this video. Okay, let's circle back to the 4 bigger things that residents know, but you might not. And I want to start with something that shapes almost everything else about this community.
White Rock has one of the oldest populations of any city in British Columbia. According to the 2021 census, the average age of a White Rock resident is 56.4 years old. Compare that to Surrey, right next door, where the average age is 38.4. That's an 18-year difference.
And that tells you a lot about what living here actually feels like day to day. If you're in that demographic, this place was practically built for you. The services, the pace, the lifestyle, it generally caters to that age group, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're a young family, or maybe you're used to a more energetic environment, you might find the community vibe a little quieter than you expected. That said, though, things are shifting. The addition of townhomes and condominiums is bringing in younger families into the area, and the demographic is slowly evolving. The 2026 census will be interesting. In fact, I'm holding the envelope right here to fill it out, and it's going to be fascinating to what it says, because White Rock is getting younger, but it's just not happening overnight. Now, number 5 leads us perfectly into number 6, because that tension around the shift in age demographics is very real. White Rock is caught in the middle of one of the biggest debates happening in communities across British Columbia right now, and that debate is density versus character. Let me explain. The provincial government, through Bill 44, has mandated that municipalities across BC allow for more housing on land that was previously reserved for single-family homes. In White Rock, that means that 88% of the city's land base is now subject to what's called small-scale multi-unit housing requirements. We're talking about the potential for up to 6 units on lots that used to hold 1 house. And here's where it gets interesting. White Rock's own mayor said publicly, we have to do this. We're mandated to do this, even though people might not like it, even though they feel like it's a disaster in the making. And the development is not just limited to these once single family lots either. There's also massive density due to come to the heart of downtown White Rock in the scope of sprawling high rises, many of which have already started, completed, or are already being built. You can see these things already. And there always seems to be a proposal for the next one coming. Now, the community of White Rock that has historically resisted change, often led by the very senior population we just talked about, is now being told by the province that this change is coming whether they like it or not. There are no public hearings required for a lot of these developments. It's a complete reshaping of what neighborhoods in White Rock can look like, and most people moving here have no idea it's already underway. And here's the thing. As uncomfortable as that change feels for a lot of longtime residents, including the ones that watch this channel frequently and are watching this video, the challenge is there's a real economic argument for why that development and density has to happen. A community dominated by seniors, many of whom tend to be on fixed incomes and don't spend the way that younger families do, puts enormous pressure on local businesses. Restaurants, shops, services, they need foot traffic and disposable income to survive, bottom line. Without new residents, without density, without young families moving in, those businesses quietly disappear. And a White Rock without a thriving local economy isn't the White Rock that anyone fell in love with. Now, here's something that might actually surprise you, even if you've been watching the broader real estate market and assuming White Rock follows the same patterns as everywhere else. Well, it doesn't, and that's exactly why this is number 7 on our list. White Rock's property values, home values, residential resale, real estate values tend to hold their value better than other areas of the Lower Mainland. But I don't want to just put that out there without giving you any evidence. So I want to give you an example where it's really quite noticeable. And that example would be the big decline experienced by the entire Lower Mainland, just as we were coming out of the COVID era. When the market peaked in March and April of 2022, because the mortgage rates at that time had spiked to combat inflation, prices dropped hard across the Lower Mainland. Over the course of about 8 to 9 months, Langley fell about 22%. Surrey dropped roughly 21.5%. North Delta was down around 24%. But White Rock? Well, it was down about 14.6%. Now, these are home price index benchmark figures, so they reflect overall market trends rather than any individual sale. But the story they tell is consistent. White Rock holds its value better than its neighbors when the market turns. And that comes down to really one thing: desirability. There is a finite amount of White Rock. It's a small city tucked into the corner of a peninsula with ocean on one side and Surrey on the other. You cannot manufacture more of it. And that scarcity, combined with the lifestyle it offers, is what puts a floor under its prices, even when everything else around it seems to be falling. This is something that locals have enjoyed for years, is that prices tend to remain much more stable in White Rock, making it a better long-term investment for your real estate needs. And now, for the one that I think is going to catch most people off guard, and number 8 on our list, especially for anyone who's new to the area or maybe thinking about moving here, right on the northern border of White Rock sits something called Semiahmoo Shopping Center, or you could call it Semiahmoo Town Center, whatever. But you probably know about it. It's where the mall is, Save on Foods, Winners, Shoppers Drug Mart, Fitness World. It's been the commercial heart of South Surrey and White Rock since 1980. What most people don't know is that it's about to be completely transformed. First Capital Realty, the owner of the 20-acre site, has an approved master plan to redevelop the entire property into high-density mixed-use neighborhoods over the next several decades. Phase 1 alone, which is already approved and covers just 2.8 of those 20 acres, will bring 3 towers, 2 of them 20 stories tall, delivering 554 new homes, plus over 45,000 square feet of ground level retail. And that's just the beginning. The full master plan divides the entire site into 7 parcels, all slated for high-rise and mid-rise development, with buildings approved up to 28 stories. With 554 homes coming from less than 3 acres, you can do the math on what the full 20-acre build-out is going to look like. We're talking thousands of homes, completely reshaping the gateway into White Rock over the next 30 to 50 years. Now, I've done a full deep dive on this channel about that, and I'll link that video below in the description. But the headline is this: if you're buying or living near that area and you don't know this plan exists, you need to. Look, I've covered White Rock extensively on this channel. The best things about living here, the challenges, what actual residents say about life in this community. It's all here if you want to go deeper. And after everything we just covered today, I want to be clear about something. None of it changes the fact that for an enormous amount of people across the Lower Mainland, White Rock is still the dream destination. It's the place people spend years working towards. This isn't where many people get to buy their first home. This is where they want to buy their forever home, the community they picture when they imagine finally slowing down and actually enjoying where they live. The quirks, the tension, the change that's coming, that's all part of the picture. But knowing all of it before you get here just means that you'll be that much more prepared for when you do. If you're trying to figure out the best areas to live in White Rock and South Surrey, because not all of them are created equal, well, I've got good news for you. I did a complete deep dive on that on the video coming up next. So if you want to learn more, I'll see you over there.
If you've ever wondered what areas or what neighborhoods of White Rock are the absolute best to live in and thought they were all the same, well, you'd be dead wrong.